people might know the topic, but they don't know it how you know it. They might not have the insight you have. The one thing I like is people's personal spin on how they approach it, because insight is a beautiful thing.
Welcome to another episode of MozPod. My name is Chima Meje, your host, and our guest today is Rejoice Ojiaku. Rejoice is an SEO specialist with 5 years of experience. She co-founded Be Digital UK, a social platform created to connect Black people with specialist roles in the marketing industry. When she's not busy working on SEO projects, you can find Rejoice speaking at industry conferences or judging prestigious industry awards. Rejoice also has one of the best looks in the industry. I have the best looks, apparently. Thank you so much for joining us, Rejoice.
Thank you for having me.
Today, we're talking about personal branding 101. If you find anything interesting from this episode, please use the hashtag MozPod to tag us and share your insights on social media. Rejoice, you have a very strong personal brand that is distinct across social platforms. I really like your brand. When did you decide to start taking your personal brand seriously?
I think I've always sort of been into social media, like long before I started working, like whilst I was kind of in uni. I used to sort of help a friend of mine manage her social media platform. And that's how I kind of, was so much into pop culture, sharing my insights, my opinions, tweeting what I want to tweet, say how it is. So when I started working, I just thought, combine it. I can now talk about different things because now I'm at a different stage. So that's how I kind of started. And then I took it seriously when I got into my second or third job. And I decided, let me give, speaking out more professionally a go because I'm already used to social media. So that's kind of how the personal branding thing sort of started.
Why should everyone have a personal brand? What are the benefits?
I don't even think everyone should have a personal brand. I do think personal branding should be aligned to who you are and what you're trying to achieve from it. It's not everyone suited to, to create a personal brand. Some people do just like to kind of be in the back end. But the benefits of having a personal brand is, one, you get to position yourself as a leader, thought leader. 2, I think you get to sort of inspire. And I think that's what is really, really good because you don't know who's looking up to you. You don't know who is kind of following your journey. And I think on not knowing who you're inspiring is great. And also the opportunity that presents itself. So that's, I think, the key benefit. You get to sort of enter a world of different opportunities and meet different people as well. So I think those are the main benefits of it if you want to get into personal branding.
Can you share a specific instance where your personal brand opened the door or created an opportunity for you?
Yeah. So I think when I first did my first industry speaking gig was at Brighton SEO, and it was about App Store optimization. And I think before that, I was already kind of speaking slowly about SEO online and stuff like that. But when I first did it, I invited a few other Black marketers I knew, like people I knew, come and join and sort of see me. And then there's some people there in the room. And when I was done, literally after the event, I just get tagged. Oh, we love your talk, this and that. You're so good. You have a knack for it. And I thought, oh my goodness. And from there, I think someone reached out to me if I wanted to sort of speak in another event. And I just thought, oh, I didn't even have to pitch for anything. It was just take the leap of faith, speak about a topic you like. And then that kind of opened up a section where opportunities were finding me and I wasn't finding it. And I think maybe I was young, so I was unprepared to how do you handle this? And literally since that Brighton SEO presentation, it just propelled. And I've done, in that year, I did so much. I did a lot more webinars, a lot more interviews, a lot more speaking gigs. And even the company I was with asked me to write a blog. And I thought, oh, this feels so good. So yeah, that will be the instance I would say kind of kicked it off for me.
I like the fact that once you really get going with your personal brand, opportunities start coming to you and it's not you going to find them anymore. So it's kind of easier to say yes to the juicy stuff and just pick what you want to do.
I agree with that, yeah.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone wanting to start their own personal brand and using social media as a vehicle?
I would say find the why. why do you want to create a personal brand? Because I think that would help you kind of strategize how to do it. Understanding, for example, why any of this is important to you. Why do you want to speak out? Why do you want to sort of build this network for yourself and be seen as this thought leader? So I think that's a good place to start. Once you understand the why, it's kind of easy to kind of pick the content, pick the audience as well. Another thing, if you do want to start, is really understand who your audience is. It's not everyone you need to speak to or you need to attract or you need to impact. If you know who your audience is, and I know who my audience is are predominantly the Black community. I've already built that credibility in that community. So having them as an audience is easier. If you're trying to go for a random audience that, you don't know anything about that audience, your personal brand will become difficult and it'll be very easy to spot that it's not authentic. So I would say that's a good starting ground to have.
I have to agree, because if you try to speak to everybody, then it just becomes diluted.
Yeah.
And that's when the problem with consistency starts to pour in.
Yeah.
I agree. Are there any common pitfalls that someone who is just starting a personal brand should avoid in the early stages?
I think is trying to be the voice for everyone, trying to do everything or speak about everything. You get
jumping on all the whole trends.
Yeah, you want to jump on
Matter.
every trend. You want to talk about every topic, and sometimes it's like you don't know enough. And also it's not aligned to your vision, your mission, or whatever the case may be. That's a huge pitfall, because, and I think that's very an easy way to lose yourself. And that's when people start to see it as disingenuous and kind of not credible in that sense. So I think that's a major pitfall, and that's something you have to work out, is that it's not everything, is for you to talk about. Not everything should be linked to your personal brand. Some things, keep in the corner, discuss it with your friends. But if you want to discuss it online as a personal brand and stuff, figure out, does this actually match in terms of my messaging and what I want to do? And I think if you can work that out, then you can avoid those early pitfalls.
If you've been keeping up with SEO updates, then you probably know that keyword research must align with search intent, or it just doesn't work. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Identifying funnel-based intent might look simple, but quickly becomes complicated as search intent evolves. How do you know when search intent changes? What if a commercial keyword is actually an informational keyword? Rather than playing guesswork, our new Keyword Explorer powered by AI simplifies your research with high-value keywords optimized for search intents. Whether your goal is to generate revenue with commercial keywords or educate your audience with informational content, Moz AI helps you maximize every dollar out of your SEO budget to achieve your marketing goals. How many platforms do I need to be on if I'm just starting out? 2, 3, 4? What's the going number these days? And how do I even choose?
I'm a sucker for social media. But realistically, I'll say 2. I don't think, honestly, pick 2 that display 2 variations of content formats. So my favorite 2 is LinkedIn and Twitter. Twitter's because I think Twitter has the best form of engagement. Personally, I think
How so?
It's beyond just leaving a comment. We can have a conversation. And I think just how the interface is, it's easier to have a conversation. LinkedIn is all hidden in that box, and it's hard to, reply to certain things, share, certain gifs and videos. But I think Twitter allows it to feel a bit more human, like a human interaction with someone. So I love Twitter for that. LinkedIn I love because I can have variation. I can do more long form in one post. I don't have to break it down in a thread. So sometimes to get that information out quickly. So for you to find the best platform for you, understand how you like to speak to your audience and how you want to engage with them and what platform would work. Some people love Instagram because I don't really want to talk too much. I can leave a comment here and there, like, and move on. I don't really like that. I want to actually talk to you and build a connection. And because, I use Twitter and LinkedIn, I've been able to, get DMs and have honest conversations with people and network in so many ways. So stick with 2. Anything more than that, I think you're stretching yourself far too thin, because it can be difficult. You can repurpose content, but I think it can be difficult to be engaged and engage your audience across so many platforms at the same time.
I have to agree. I'm also more of LinkedIn and Twitter myself, and then personal stuff, Facebook, and once in a while Instagram for like a good laugh. Yeah, I know Facebook. I know the reaction. I know.
I'm on Facebook as well. Like I'm always on Facebook.
People think that Facebook is just for older people, but I don't care.
Like, I have a good time on Facebook. So yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, one of the biggest fears that people have about putting themselves out there is imposter syndrome, the big-headed demon in the room. How do you overcome this when trying to establish a personal brand?
I think the first thing we've got to realize is with imposter syndrome, you don't ever overcome, and you shouldn't strive to overcome it. For me personally, I have anxiety disorder. So anxiety disorder and imposter syndrome combined, that is a blow. That is a huge, scary thing to deal. So I think with imposter syndrome, what kind of I help is I do a lot of words of affirmation. I have to hype myself up. I have to sort of tell myself, okay, you know your stuff. You know what you're talking about. You are this person. If you have, just remind yourself about the achievements you've made.
You're that bitch.
You're that girl. You
are that girl. So, come on, you got this, girl.
So it's literally that. So I think is if you come at it from I need to overcome imposter syndrome. No, I think it can be a useful tool to analyze who you are as a person, analyze how you deal with things. I think find coping mechanisms to deal, whether it's meditation beforehand and you just kind of have to get in a quiet place and listen, whether it is you need music before you kind of go on stage or before you address something that is scaring you and stuff like that. And also, honestly, gas yourself up. Just tell yourself you're that bitch and then you should be fine after that.
I think something that I usually do with imposter syndrome is that I know it's not for everybody, but I developed a persona called Tom Bro.
Yeah,
and many people know Tom Bro now. Tom Bro is my middle-aged white guy. And when I'm talking online, when somebody's giving me like bullshit, I say, what would Tom Bro do? Because he's a middle-aged white man. He has all the confidence in the world.
All the audacity.
And he's not going to take shit from anybody.
Yeah, I agree.
And best of all, he has bags and bags of audacity. And let me tell you, that is a secret formula to imposter syndrome.
Facts. Have the audacity. Yep. 100%. I agree with that.
So if what Rejoice says doesn't work, develop your own persona to help you with imposter syndrome. All right. Hot take.
Yeah.
What is one thing that frustrates you the most about SEO or the industry? Give it to me.
So I think for me, my biggest frustration is how there's a very lack of nurturing upcoming talent from the younger generations, especially the likes of like Gen Z and how they see search and what they think about search. And now that the fact that search has gone beyond just website, I don't think we're doing enough to encourage them to look into SEO because the kind of content and topics that they talk about online from an SEO perspective, how are we tapping into that to attract them, to evangelize to younger people. And I think whenever I speak to younger people who are so eager to enter this space, you can literally see the hunger. You can literally see how much they want it. But I think it's because, there's not a lot of entry positions, but there's entry position, but there's not a lot of training. And it's like they need someone to train. And unfortunately, we hear a lot about, some people might not have budgets to train, but it's not about having the budget. Just if a company decides, let's actually do a global mentoring program to mentor young people into SEO, I think that'd be a lot more impactful. How are we as companies, how are you going into, you're not going to universities to talk to them about SEO, where the UK have things like career fairs. They have, certain school days where they invite the expert speakers to preach about a certain job career. I don't see a lot of SEOs doing that. When I go to these things, I'm seeing people in other spaces, social media marketers, e-commerce, and I'm the only one SEO person there. And a lot of them don't know what SEO is. And I'm like, you know what? And when I say it, they're like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, but we're just not doing enough. And I wish that was the case, because when I mentor young Black women who are interested in SEO and I'm giving them the resources, I'm inviting them to the events to see the industry for what it is, they're blown away. They're completely blown away. If we do more of that, I think we will start to see a lot more creativity in SEO coming in, because these people have, how they think about things is fantastic, and how they address things is like, that's a different perspective. So I think that's my biggest pain point with SEO. Like, please, we need more young, fresh talent, because I think it will change the game so much.
I definitely 1000% agree with you. More fresh talent means that the way that we do strategy, we change. Like, even something like this now.
Yeah.
I like to think it's because I'm younger that I can take MozPod in this kind of direction where it's different from where it was before, you know? The way we even think, the way we evolve, the way we strategize, the way we execute is so much different. And that diversity in those ideas, I think that's what is going to take SEO to the next level, beyond search. Beyond search.
Is the beyond search part, because I think what a lot of Gen Zs are doing now, and I feel like it's slightly different, is that they're not just seeing SEO in its own silo, they're seeing SEO as part of an ecosystem.
Which is how it's supposed to be.
Which is how it's meant to be. And I think of how they will utilize search to feed into brand strategy, to feed into content, to feed into any sort, like even like AI generation, all of those things. I think if we can tap into that talent pool, I think we will absolutely start to see more amazing strategies, more fresher content that reaches out to the younger people. So we just need to find a way to kind of bridge that gap for them and bring them along with us in the journey.
All right. Back to our normal presentation.
Yeah.
You need a voice to stand out online. How can folks find their voice and personality while building thought leadership in their personal brand? I know that's a complex one.
It is complex. And I think for me, the best way to address it, and what has worked for me, is it easier said than done. But I think if you know yourself, if you know who you are, you don't need to find a new voice. Your voice currently is fine. You just kind of, I see it as fine-tune your voice. And your personality is whatever your personality is, I think use that to shape your personal branding. You don't have to be super, super extroverted. You don't have to be super, super introverted. You can actually work with who you are and actually build that way. Like for me, I'm loud. I say how it is. I don't care. I stand for what I stand for. I will speak my mind. No one, I have the sense of no one can check me. So, and I use that to actually relate to people with that. And I use that to talk about what I want to talk about in a more professional way. Think about personal branding as code switching. When I code switch, it doesn't mean that's not my vocabulary. I'm just giving you differently. I'm giving you a different flavor.
It's like how we have one voice when we're talking to other Black people.
Yeah,
and we're in the corporate world.
Code switch. Like just change it up a little bit. Like you're not becoming someone new. Like I can talk professionally if I want to, and then on Twitter I talk how I want to talk. But it's this two of me that is just basically there's the same.
LinkedIn rejoice and Twitter rejoice.
I'm not the same people. It's just a different language. It's just like more so. I'm more freer because of the audience I'm engaging with. That's how I have to be. But in professional settings, I'm professional rejoice. I get the job done. And that's fine. Just code switch because professional and free are not completely different people. They're all part of me, but I just alter and fine tune my voice depending on the platform and the type of content I want. I can't do professional content all the time on Twitter. My engagement will go down. So, well, professional content on LinkedIn works for me. I get the comments and that's fine. So I think that's how you find your voice in that situation.
I think personally, I would say that you need to know who you are.
100%.
If you don't know who you are, then you definitely can't find your voice online because you're going to keep diluting and changing it up every time. So the important thing is to know who you are. Yeah. Make sure that you bring that consistency of who you are in real life 100%. To your online voice. Yeah. And then the people who like that, those are the people that you want to attract. Those are the people that are going to follow you. And just stick with that.
I agree with that. You want authentic followers.
Yeah. One of the biggest problems with personal branding is that you need a consistent flow of content, or you just, like you said, your engagement is just going to go down. Mm-hmm. What would be your advice to new creators to never run out of content ideas?
To never run out of content, honestly, pre-plan. Just pre-plan the content that you want to speak about. You don't have to plan when you want to post it. I think plan what you want to talk about, what topics you want to cover, and don't stick to overarching topics. Sometimes just break the topics down further and further, get as niche as you can, because even in that niche, like this, you can have like 6 different niches from one overarching topic, and that can be different contents you can actually talk about. And also not just pre-plan the content, pre-plan the content format and the content variety. Is it going to be a thread? Is it going to be more, you want to sit down, record it? Do you want to add an audio to it? Are you going to create an image asset for it? I think if you're starting out, get in the habit of planning your content ahead of time. That's what I did when I was sort of like, talking about certain industry topics here and there. I would plan it out. But now it's just like, I engage with what's coming, what's already discussed. And that's how I do it. And I think the content planning has to be different for different platforms. On Twitter, I hardly plan anything. I go.
You're basically doing reactive.
I'm reactive content.
Yes.
On LinkedIn, I have to plan it. I have to be proactive and thinking about, okay, I know AI is a huge topic. So how do I want to sort of talk about this from a search perspective? What are the key things for me to sort of talk about? And that's how I plan it on LinkedIn. So I think plan it the right way for the right platform and see how that works out for you. Test and trial it as well. If one doesn't work, try something else. Don't say, oh, you know what, that topic is not conducive. The topic might be fine, it might just be the content format you're presenting it in that might not work out for it. So test and trial that.
Networking is such a powerful tool for personal branding. How can someone network effectively online when you can't even see the person in real life?
I think the issue people have with networking online is everyone is so afraid of looking like a beg. You're so afraid of looking like, oh, you're trying so hard to get to know someone. And sometimes let that fear go.
Wait, hold on. Looking like a what now?
Okay, so it's a slang.
Beg.
A beg just means like you're begging for someone to notice you.
Like me.
like
Please
me. Choose me. Is that. Everyone's afraid of coming across that way. And once you let that fear go, you just think, what do I have to lose? And you don't have anything to lose. The only thing that can happen is the person will give you the time of day and you move on. So I think if you want to network online, first is know who you want to network with. It's not everybody you need to go and network with because they're not aligned to what you want. Know who you're networking with. Know a bit about that person. Know what content they talk about. Know how they are online, what they what they respond to, because that way you can actually know how to come at them. And also, sometimes it might not be too deep of a message. Sometimes just says, hey, hi, how are you? Just want to say I love your content and I hope to see more. That's just an open door. Because they'll be like, oh, thank you so much, this and that. And then you start to get to know someone and you just have them in your network. But also, don't forget to interact with them when they post their content. Because don't just DM me for DM's sake, but I've never ever you've never ever liked, shared, commented, ever. Make sure you do that because I think it shows that, okay, you generally have an interest. You're not just trying to use them for their network and what they can sort of give you. It has to be a two-way relationship. I think once you sort of start doing it that way, you're fine. But first, don't be afraid to look like a beg. For me, I don't care. I will DM her on DM. I'm like, oh my God, hey, love what you do. I hope that I want to keep in touch. Hope we can work together in the future. And a lot of times when opportunity rises, there's like, oh, hey, remember, we spoke about this, a few times ago. This opportunity is here. Great. I've got in my opportunity. I've networked my way into that.
I think for me, the first thing is I always have a list of who I want to network with. Mm-hmm. And it's always like people I could potentially work with who could become clients, people who are on the same level as me, maybe doing what I do, people who are in verticals, that whole network, that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then the first thing is to always like comment on their stuff. If they're posting on Twitter, if they're posting on LinkedIn, comment on it, say something insightful, do it a couple of times, then they start noticing your name. And then one day go into their DMs and say, hey, you just shared this insight. I really liked what you said, I found this specific thing insightful. If they're speaking at an event and you're going to be there, after the event, just drop them a comment and say, I really enjoyed your talk. And then gradually like that, you just start having that small banter like that, that small banter, and it just becomes natural. The thing that I think everybody's afraid of is being sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to these days. Yeah. And there's nothing I hate like a cold pitch that is disguised as somebody trying to banter with me. I absolutely hate that shit.
And the banter is always dead.
The banter is always dead. It's always like, hi.
Good banter.
Hi. And what's all of that?
And one thing I would add to that though, I would say also, don't take things personal. If you don't get a response, that's fine. Like for me, there's so many people I've tried to network with online. They have not responded to my message.
Me too.
I will never take it personal because you're probably busy. That's fine. But I'll still share content because I truly actually like what you say, and that's okay. So when you're networking online, honestly, don't take things personal at all. Some people are crap with DMs. They just are. They're not as hands-on with it, and that's okay. But I think if when you're networking, like you said, come across like you mean it and you're authentic. Like you're not trying to sell them something. And I think you should have a better reception that way.
Hey friend, if you stuck around this far, I'll take it you're enjoying the podcast. Please hit the like button to show your support. Subscribe to stay in the loop. and click the bell button to get notified when we release a new episode. Thank you. Public speaking is a great way to become recognizable. What are your best tips for finding events to pitch at?
I think my best tips to sort of find events, and I think you won't find events if you're not participating in your industry. If you're just, you go to work and come back, but you don't do anything else, you won't know what is actually out there. So one thing I say to find events is go to events. Actually go to the events. And when you go to these events, you're meeting different people or other organizers who might also be part of that event, and then go speak to the people on panel to kind of get the ideas of, what the kind of topics they want to talk about. Another way to find events would be, I would say, there's so many like different forums out there that people actually actively look for speakers. So sometimes it's just asking around in your industry, do you know of certain events? Say you want to put your name forward when the opportunity comes. If you are telling people your interest, that's one thing I always do. I tell people what I'm interested in. Oh, I'm interested in that. That's something I want to do. Can you let me know when the application form opens up? Because what you then see is these people would start to think, oh, there's someone who said that they were interested. Let me reach out to them and see if they want to actually now talk here. But you have to, and sometimes find an advocate. So for me, it's like I'm an advocate for other Black women who are in SEO and want to start speaking. And when I say advocate is, I will put your name in the room because I know you're not in that room yet. So if, for example, I always tell like new speakers, people who want to speak, I say start with White SEO. They love first-time speakers, and I would help you pitch. One of my friends, I couldn't speak at a conference, and they asked me, can I get a replacement? I was like, I know someone who is great at TikTok and she knows strategy. Can I put her name forward? She was nervous, but we worked and then we prepared her stuff. So sometimes I always look for advocates. So people like, I make friends with people like you, people like other people in the industry who I know would say my name in rooms I may not be in. And I think that's a good way also to find public speaking events as well.
I agree. I put your name in front of every time somebody's asking me to speak. I always mention you. I mention Crystal. I mention Miracle. I'm like, oh, I know these other 3 people.
I do that too, yeah.
All right. Now let's say you found an event you want to pitch. How do you even come up with the topics when there's a voice screaming in your head that people already know the stuff you're trying to pitch?
I always say people might know the topic, but they don't know it how you know it. They might not have the insight you have. And I'll just say, find a slight difference in what you want to talk about. Because trust me, I've been to so many events, I've heard the topics and they're very similar. But the one thing I like is people's personal spin on how they approach it. Because insight is a beautiful thing. How someone approaches technical audits may not be how someone else approaches technical audits. There's something slightly you do that makes it easier, that I resonate with. I can love both, but I can get 2 lessons from it. So when you're looking at, talk about a topic, one, don't be scared that people have spoken about that topic before. Just find why that topic resonates with you and what's different about how you see it. And then go with that. It can be the same overarching thing, but there is an insight you will provide that's valuable, and that's okay. And sometimes I think it's great to think outside the box. I do this trick where I just kind of Google the topic I'm thinking about, and I read different articles, and I just find an article or find a point that I know I do, that I don't think, okay, this little part is not really talked about, or it's not really mentioned a lot. Maybe I can alter my talk to make that the focus point. So there's so many ways.
It's just finding that insight.
Finding that insight.
You're going to center as your whole talk, and then just like dig into it.
And go with that. And I think honestly, within the industry, people always appreciate a different of insights because it's so powerful and so useful.
Rejoice, what is your best tip for someone attending a conference for the first time?
My best tip, and I think, knowing me, is I think just find someone to go with. I think it stops the nerves of actually attending. I think that's the biggest fear people have. It's not the getting there, is I'm going to be alone when I'm there. So just find one person, bring a friend along, or actually reach out to people in your industry, like put a tweet out, put a post out, or I'm attending this for the first time. I want to go with someone, whoever's going, can I please accompany you? I think that would sort of help you bring down the nerves so you can actually, enjoy the conference because you've attended with someone. I think that's the biggest fear people have. So that's my all-time favorite tip, I always tell people, if you want to go to a conference, I'll go with you, just so you can relax and enjoy it.
How do you measure the success of your personal branding efforts?
So for me, I always have a personal goal. My personal goal of personal branding, I have 2 goals. Goal number 1, I want more opportunities. I just want more opportunities. Goal number 2, I want to bring Black people in. That's 2 goals of mine. And for me is whenever I'm talking or preaching about SEO. So just a little snippet. Recently, I was started mentoring like Black women in industry, and I've tweeted it. I got back into my mentoring bag, this and that. And then I had like influx of other Black women. I've been watching your personal brand. I love it so much. Can you mentor me? This and that. I got to 22 women that I spoke to in a week who was trying to sort of get involved.
That's incredible.
And for me, that was a goal. I was like, okay, now I know. So I've now, positioned these young Black women who are looking for jobs, who are looking for this. And I'm like, I know so many recruiters and I have so many CVs of these women. I'm going to create a database and give it to recruiters and help you guys get the jobs. So I've achieved my goal through personal branding. And from that, so I think know what your goal is, and that's how you can measure what's beneficial for you. Do you want personal branding to lead to sales? You know how, if it's leading to sales, you've achieved it. If it's not, you know what to sort of change up to do it. So I think, there's no particular metric to say it's successful. The metric is such
goals. And if you achieve those goals,
if you achieve your goals, enough. Then your personal brand works.
Rejoice Ojiako, the Isare of SEO, rooting for everybody Black.
Everybody Black. That's what I'm doing. Everybody Black I'm rooting for. Yes. Yeah.
All right. For those who fear starting out because they think it's too late, what would you say to encourage them?
Oh, it's never too late. Oh, it's never too late. But I think don't delay, and don't think you have to be so full on to start. I think, you can pace yourself with it. Talk about it here and there, get involved in certain topics and feel it out for yourself. I would say the reason why a lot of people think it's too late is because they question and doubt what do they have to bring to the table. And sometimes you're thinking too much. I think if you're really passionate about, I really want to talk about this topic, I really want to talk to these people and let people know what I do or let people know how to think about certain things, just do it. Just talk and you will figure it out along the way. You might not start, I've got the content aligned, I know my tone, I know my voice. Sometimes just talk and open your mouth, open your phone and type. And then eventually you start to learn how to work for you. Because when I started, nobody told me about personal branding. I just did what I did and I figured it out. And a lot of time with personal branding, it is about just figuring out, and you will be fine. So I always encourage people that loads of experts in the industry, even though, yes, it might seem that they're doing so well with it, but when they started out, they were figuring it out. And that's what you can do. Just, start.
What is one thing you do every day that brings you a tiny pocket of joy?
I play games on my phone every morning.
I saw you.
Yeah, I play games. I've been playing 3 different games for 1,300 and something days.
1,300 and what now?
360 days.
Damn, girl.
Every day.
Why?
I love it. It brings me peace and relax. I'm just like, and it's just a childish game. It's children's game, but I can't help. I'm literally downloading games. Games on my phone brings me that little bit of joy every day because it makes me feel like a child. And it's something silly and I don't care. And I'll be on like the bus just like playing with this little cats. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine.
Just take your mind out of the business of the game.
I don't want to think. Let me play my game and just be in my zone with music in my ear.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Rejoice, thank you so much for joining us today. That was incredible.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
And that's it for today on MozPod. Don't forget to use the hashtag MozPod to share anything you found interesting on today's episode. This episode was engineered by Saul Fox, produced by Chima Meja and Joe Cameron, and our YouTube footage was filmed and edited by Sarah Galpin. Remember, curiosity did not kill the cat. It just improved the search rankings. Bye-bye.